your mount, survival, and escaping guide. How to not only survive mount, but to get to a guard that will let you do something cool. Let's have a look. Hey guys, Prof Tom. I'm here with student of mine, Gary. We're going to have a look today about 4 ways of escaping mount. They're really just subdivided into just 2 methodologies, okay? Shrimping and a bridging systems. And once we've understood those, we're going to then have a look at the 4 different escapes and how if you can combine all 4, you should be able to get out of anybody's mount. Okay, so let's have a look at this because guys, mount sucks, we all know it. Let's have a look what happens when I do get mounted. Gary's mounted me, so he's been beating me up. If I stay flat on my back, I can feel safe, but ultimately I'm not gonna probably escape very far, okay? So from my back though, I do have some powerful bridging motions. So let's quickly review those. Most of you know them. I teach 2 to my students. I'll show you them 2 now. One, if I can get an arm and I can block a leg, notice how I don't trap the foot. You trap the foot, that's not trapping anything. Put your leg, point your toes either sideways or down, flex your quadricep, and that foot will stay where it is. Now I'm going to hold my elbows in so I don't block my own roll, and I look where I go and I do a big bridge and then roll. Okay, so there's our basic upa or bridge and roll escape. Let's have a look at that again. So from my back, okay, a lot of the time guys are going to have their hand under your head like this. If that happens, or for instance he has an underhook on this arm, would serve as the same purpose. Okay, this would serve as the same purpose here. I could bridge and roll him across using his hip, okay, as the contact point. If his hand was under my head, I can bridge with my head, walk over to get his shoulder over his elbow, and then bridge either with a swimming motion or a pushing motion here, throwing a little right kick to carry my momentum over. So there's our bridge and roll. We've all seen it, we all know it, we all do it. But if you don't know these other 3 systems of escape, you're really going to, if that's your only thing you can do, guys are going to start keeping their hands away. So let's now start having a look at another bridging methodology that we can use. So I'm on the bottom, Gary's mounted me. Gi or no gi, what we can do is use our knee. I'll use my right knee here, so I keep my left foot planted. I bring my right knee up and I bring him over me. What I'm looking to do is to bring his hips over my hands so I'm ready to bench press. So I'm going to bring his hips forward. I dig my palms into his hip bones here, and now I give a big bridge up. Bridge. I lock out my bench press and I bring my right knee in. This is my security blanket. So if he crushes me now, I've got a knee in and I'll probably be able to put a foot in, and here I am playing butterfly guard, for instance. So when we first learn this escape, I'll hit him forwards, I get the hips, I get a bridge, I get my knee in, we can just pummel our other knee in and be here in a double hooking butterfly sweep position. However, I think you can do better. I believe when you escape in jiu-jitsu, you should always go on the offense and look for the submission right away. I think it's a very empowering system of belief in jiu-jitsu. So when I look to escape, I look to go for the finish right away. So as I bring him forward and bridge up, my left foot comes into the hip. Once I have the left foot in the hip, I will simply close this knee to push him over. I'll secure his foot. Now, if we want to be super IBJJ friendly, we'll of course lean to our left. So I'm going to hold my left hand high. I can reinforce the fulcrum with this other hand, okay? You can look at doing figure 4s, you can look at doing all the different grips, but I want a high fulcrum, tight elbow, and now I fall to this side. If I want more power, my right foot will come in next to my hip, next to his hip here. My knees squeeze and extend through. Focusing on not using my back, but pushing my hips through to use some very powerful muscles. So let's have a look again from mount at speed. Okay? Straight ankle lock, IBJJF legal. However, we could of course go into a heel hook as well. So if Gary was on top of me and mount, I pass them forward, I push up, I get to here. If I can close my knee, I can row the toes and go for my heel attacks from here. You could of course start transitioning into different positions from here, going to the outside, but ultimately, just from this position here, you've got a solid attack on the heel, all right? So let's have a look at something else. He's on me now, and bridging is not working. This could be body type, this could be energy systems. There's a lot of reasons why it might not be working a bridge. Balance, weight, etc. So we start turning on our side. You'll notice that my elbows both have a job. My left elbow is to try to dig in here. My right elbow is to block across his hip. So my right forearm has an entire job. My left forearm is protecting my neck. Okay? So I'm hiding my chin down, I'm putting my shoulder up. I've got to protect that neck. Now from here, I have two amazing escapes. The first one is going to involve me crunching my nose and shooting my butt back, okay? So an elbow or a hip escape here, boom. And once my knees are free, I'm now here sitting up into a butterfly guard, ready to start sweeping my partner, okay? So let's have a look again at our options once we don't use our bridging escapes, which was our first two escapes, and we start looking at hip movement. So I turn on my side from this position. If I can crunch my nose down and push my hip back, as soon as my knees are free, I'm out. But of course, now we start to see why we combine them. Because if I'm here and he squeezes his knees, I won't go back. But where will I go? Over. If he squeezes his knees, I'll collect this, I'll block this, and I'll roll him over. Because if he squeezes his knees, he has no base of support. Okay? The knees outside the hip line are where you get your balance. So remember, if they stop one, they make themselves vulnerable to the other. But so too, say if Gary's on the bottom, if Gary tries to bridge and roll me, and I open out my balance like this to stop being rolled, he can now crunch his nose down and shoot his hip back because I've opened up the space where I was holding my mount. So now we look at our final one. Arguably the easiest of the mount escapes, but not only sneaky, but very effective at setting up some strong guards. So I've turned on my side here. I might be getting squeezed, I might not, but I can't seem to get my hip back. I can't bridge and roll. I don't want to give him my back. This elbow, if it travels past here, I'm in big trouble. Got to keep him here. I can't let his left knee start creeping up. From this position, I can hold his knee down with my left elbow, and now watch my right heel. It's going to hook, and now my right heel drags as my left knee shoots forward here, and I start to collect. Now, although I am doing a bit of a thigh master squeeze here, ultimately my right leg is cutting down as my left leg is cutting up, like two wedges coming together, and it's going to grip his heel extremely strongly. You'll notice that it starts to lift his knee. Okay? So you can see I'm using his tib and fib as a lever here by pressing my hamstring down on the heel as a fulcrum rotates up. Once I've lifted his knee as wide as my knee, I shoot over, I'll turn on my side, and for me, I'll normally look to get my left shin in place, unless I'm playing a sit-up half-guard approach. Okay, so let's have a look at that snag and drag escape. So I turn on my side, I hold his knee low, my right heel comes in. Sometimes from here, I'll use my left hand just to help get it over, okay? Especially if the guy's got a small foot and your big foot won't get under there, you can just give it a little help and then lift the knee, post on the knee, scoot over, get your frames in place, and now be ready to play your guard. So those four systems of mount escape work together. The better you get at one, the more opportunities for another you'll have. If you only know two of them, you'll be frustrated half the time. If you know four of them, whether you can escape or not, you will nearly escape a lot, because you're really going to be able to set your partner, who is winning, up to lose, because you're giving them confusing multiple problems. But do understand this, you are in mount, you should lose. We're teaching you moves and stuff to get out of it and how to get into it. If it was easy to get out of, what is the point of learning this grappling stuff? So do bear that in mind. That's always a reality check. But for instance, if you're rolling with inferior athletes or maybe students that are lesser than your rolling abilities in your academy, you should always, in my opinion, sometimes people's egos in different gyms don't like it, but I think you should let them start in a dominant position on you. So I still think we have to practice escapes, you know, because one day we'll get caught in these bad positions and they're tough to get out of. So practice before you need it. That would be my recommendation. But if you can combine your bridging escapes with your shrimping escapes, you're going to more than double your results. And may I suggest not having any rest when you escape mount. So I like to start elbow escaping, hip escaping, shrimping, using my snag and drag, going to deep half, pushing out to Z, bridging them up, putting them in ashigarami, whatever I need to do. I'm really trying to keep them. I never want to give them a stable problem because they're in mount. So if I stay stable, they should beat me. But if I keep dynamically changing the problem, the chance that I might catch you off and be able to put you back in a guard, it increases dramatically. So good luck escaping mount. Have fun. See you next time, guys.